happened to Justin Baldoni. I mean, she was named in the lawsuit for a reason. And like I said in yesterday's show, it was her particular style. Of course, there is some dark irony here that Colleen Hoover wrote this book about abuse, but seemed unable to pick up. That, my friends, is exactly why Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have hired him, because he has proven that he is willing to lie without flinching.
Candace Owens has been relentlessly criticizing Blake Lively ever since the Blake versus Justin fiasco began. Rather than siding with Justin, it appears she simply has a strong dislike for Blake. Owens has made it clear that her reasons stem from Blake's history of lies and manipulations against her former co-star throughout the lawsuit. She has been vocal about her opinions, often highlighting how Blake's accusations repeatedly get debunked by Justin. Additionally, she has called out Taylor Swift for quickly distancing herself from Blake and even suggested that Blake's handling of the situation mirrors Taylor's marketing strategies.
We're starting to form that Taylor Swift may have been involved somewhat in the background in what happened to Justin Baldoni. I mean, she was named in the lawsuit for a reason. And like I said in yesterday's show, it was her particular style. These Easter eggs, she was hanging out with them at that time. The New York Times article, a lot of what happened just seemed to have a flavor of K. Well, today, her team, and respect to them for the speed at which her marketing team moves, dropped an entire article in the press announcing that her and Blake are taking a break. They're no longer friends because, shocking, Taylor Swift feels used. She always feels used. And she wants nothing to do with the Justin Baldoni situation.
Candace Owens went after the pop star, arguing that while Taylor Swift's strong marketing team acted quickly to distance her from the lawsuit, she has a tendency to victimize herself too often. Owens pointed out Blake's manipulative behavior, but also emphasized that Taylor couldn't completely deny responsibility. She argued that Blake was only able to use Taylor as an intimidation tactic because Taylor allowed it.
What do you really mean you showed up and the meeting was still going on? What does that mean? What is it? I showed up and the meeting was still going on. So what are you being victimized by? If I show up at my friend's house and there's a meeting going on and I didn't know it was still going to go on, I don't need to insert myself in that meeting. Justin Baldoni, in his lawsuit, stipulates that Taylor Swift peer pressured him, and she's not denying that in this article. She's not saying I didn't speak to him, I said nothing, which I would be like, oh, you just used me as an intimidation tactic in your phone, I had nothing to do with it. She is saying that she then went and heaped praise on Blake Lively's version of the opening scene. That's what his lawsuit states. This is when they were talking about that rooftop scene. Okay? So she inserted herself in that. So unless Blake gave her the nudge and said, can you go in there? In which case, Taylor Swift is still responsible for having peer pressured him. Then there's no deniability here. She can't say, I had nothing, I don't know how I got involved in this. You got involved in it because you peer pressured him to make a change that he didn't want to make to his movie.
Candace Owens has also extensively covered Colleen Hoover's involvement, suggesting that the author may have unwittingly become part of Blake and Ryan's systematic attempt to abuse and isolate Justin Baldoni from his own movie.
That Colleen Hoover was similarly love-bombed by the people. I think that's what they do. I think Brandon Sklenar, Colleen, Channing Tatum, Isabel Ferrer, everyone was love-bombed. They isolate the person they want to destroy. In this case, it was Justin Baldoni. And then they are the exact opposite, overwhelmingly amazing and kind and offering all kinds of A-list goodies to the people that are around the person that they're trying to target. Oh, Liz Plank, oh, why don't you be a part of this random documentary? Oh, what is it that you want? We are just such good people. Even all the way at the top, we're good people who want to help you. And of course, there is some dark irony here that Colleen Hoover wrote this book about abuse, but seemed unable to pick up the abuse that was happening right under her nose. So she unwittingly, hopefully unwittingly, played along in this. She allowed Justin and his family to be put in that basement and seemed open to the prospect, as we showed in that old interview with her and Blake, of her getting her movie rights back.
Owens also speculated that Blake and Ryan have a habit of love bombing those around their targets to create the illusion that they are wonderful people. She pointed out that this tactic is especially easy for them to pull off given their wealth and influence.
So just to basically recap here, when Blake filed her CRD complaint on December 20th, Colleen Hoover made her support of Blake Lively clear to the public. She stopped short of throwing Justin Baldoni under the bus, but her statement was definitively loud and clear, especially given the fact that she attended all of the promos and the screenings with Blake and Brandon leading up to the film's release. And it felt very much, if you were watching everything, like basically they established the cool kids table, so to speak. Justin was nowhere. They wanted him to feel alone, and he was not allowed to sit with the cool kids. Okay. So Colleen posted this in response to that filing. She wrote, "Blake Lively, you have been nothing but honest, kind, supportive, and patient since the day we met. Thank you for being exactly the human that you are. Never change, never wilt."
Recently, Owens has been targeting the latest developments in Team Blake's case, particularly their push for an attorney's eyes only protective order. She criticized this move, arguing that it would essentially allow the attorney to control what information could be released to the public and even to involved parties like Justin himself, a tactic she sees as highly convenient for Blake and Ryan.
And I'm going to show you what they said. They said, given how actively the Lively parties have publicized and litigated Ms. Lively's claims in the media, we are surprised to now learn how vehemently she wants to prevent the public from accessing material and relevant evidence. The Lively parties provided the New York Times with Ms. Lively's otherwise confidential administrative complaint filed with the California Civil Rights Department and thousands of pages of original documents, including text messages and emails. So that's kind of like a pretty strong argument, because they're saying, we're just like to remind the public that it was clearly her team who leaked private text messages and leaked emails without any due process at all to the New York Times. So why are they coming at us pretending that, like, oh, such a thing could potentially ruin careers, when it seems like that's exactly what you were doing when you released these messages that only you had?
Owens' criticism has drawn significant attention, with many agreeing with her, especially after Justin's lawyer, Brian Fredman, presented a strong argument against Team Blake's request. Critics have also pointed out the hypocrisy of their stance, noting that they were the ones who initially made the case public. Additionally, Ryan Reynolds recently joked about his wife's chase on SNL in front of millions of viewers, suggesting that they aren't truly concerned about the privacy of other potential victims or third parties.
I also find it interesting that they're trying to pretend that it's a case, that they're essentially trying to protect people who may have been victimized by sexual harassment, when it was actually Blake Lively in that initial filing that said everything but the name, right? Like when she was trying to imply, like, wink, wink, I'm not going to name Lily Bloom. She's like pulling the Kanye, I'm not going to say who it was. And then she just says it. She's like, I don't want to name anybody else in the suit. But if you actually go back and review her initial filing from December 31st or December 20th, also her CRT complaint, she lets us know that it is Isabella Ferrer. It's almost laughable.
Owens also highlighted how Blake had nearly named other castmates from the film, seemingly to suggest that there were additional victims supporting her claims.
A quote-unquote another female cast member that's friends with Jamie Heath and Justin Baldoni, Liz Plank. She's basically saying everything. She's like, it's schmish schmank. It's schmisha schmella schleller. But I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it rhymes with schmisha schmella schmerer and sliz slank. That's all I'm saying. So it's ridiculous for her to pretend that she was trying to protect these women. She was desperately trying to signal to the public by dropping not even Easter eggs, just pointed blanket statements like that. So it's a crap argument. The point of this filing was supposed to be for Taylor Swift.
Another major issue arose when Blake hired former CIA agents as publicists, individuals with a proven track record of misleading the public, further fueling skepticism about her intentions.
It says, quote, Shapiro is not without controversy. He was one of the group of 51 former senior intelligence officials who signed the widely cited and subsequently criticized 2020 open letter stating that the Hunter Biden laptop, quote, has all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. And that, my friends, is exactly why Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have hired him, because he has proven that he is willing to lie without flinching, that he will straight up lie to protect his clients, he will lie to gaslight the public.
And a lawyer for the Princess of Evidence list says, quote, the litigation team for Ms. Lively retained Mr. Shapiro to advise on the legal communication strategy for the ongoing sexual harassment and retaliation lawsuit occurring in the Southern District of New York. Well, maybe I'm mistaken. Okay, he's actually been working in the private sector for a while. Shapiro launched his company, 10th Avenue Consulting, in 2015 after a lengthy tenure in the federal government. I still think it's an interesting choice. According to his bio, Shapiro helped lead the Obama administration's response to the H1N1 pandemic, the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, the Gulf oil spill, the Boston Marathon bombing, the Japan earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear disaster, as well as numerous cyber attacks, data breaches, wildfires, floods, and hurricanes.
Meanwhile, Owens pointed out how Team Blake was once again relying on PR tactics to shift the narrative, this time by implying that Justin had something to hide. This came after the judge denied their excessive motion requesting access to his phone conversations, emails, and texts from the past 2 years.
What is Ryan Friedman hiding? That's the deadline after the ruling was made public. They continue, quote, after promising to release all the receipts, Friedman ran into court to keep secret the phone records of who Baldoni, Heath, Starwood, Nathan, Wallace, and Abel were calling during their retaliatory campaign. So instead of getting these records from the phone pairs the way that we initially requested, the judge has ruled that if we simply submit more specific requests, we will be able to get the records we are seeking. The spokesperson added, today we will do that. We are submitting those requests directly to the defendants involved, and we look forward to seeing the records. I mean, it is weird how dumb they think the public is. Like, what do you mean? Why on earth would you be allowed to see every single message that someone has sent for 2.5 years, predating even the time frame that the people were their PR agents?
They also appeared to completely ignore the fact that this move contradicted their own claims, further undermining their credibility.
And yes, the judge called them out, saying that in their own filings, they alleged that the smear campaign began in August of 2024, yet they wanted phone records beginning in 2022. The judge said no, and you also can't demand this of so many people. The judge did say that you can submit a much more narrow request. Baldoni's lawyer of the judge's ruling in their favor mostly said the following. The court put a stop to Ms. Lively's egregious attempt to invade our client's privacy. This is a big win. No matter how the Lively parties may try to spin this decision, the court saw their efforts for what they really are. A desperate fishing expedition intended to salvage their debunked claims long after they already savaged our client's reputation in the New York Times.
Adding to the controversy, a journalist leaked an audio recording of Ari Emanuel insulting Justin and siding with Blake. This further supports the theory that the WME executive dropped Justin at Blake and Ryan Reynolds' request. Notably, this is the same executive who has yet to publicly sever ties with Diddy, raising even more questions about his decision-making.
You could tell us about a little bit of the mess that I gathered you've been involved in. Hey, I know where you're going. Do you have notes on it? Oh, no. Those are the two things I said to myself. This could come up.
He brought notes. So this was all arranged.
Okay, this is all. So I have to admit, I don't keep up that much on my list. But even I, crossing the Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, let the record show for those listening at home, Ari just with a joke. I mean, it's been fucked up, bad situation that
the leaked audio makes it clear that Ari Emanuel never took Justin seriously, even mocking his name by calling him Bologna or something similar. It appeared to be a calculated attack on an actor far less powerful than his opponents. Not only did Ari confirm that he had fired Justin, but he also went on to praise Blake and Ryan, reinforcing the idea that his decision was influenced by their influence and status.
An effed up situation, whatever, Maldoni, whatever his name is doing, whatever, Use your client.
Finally, there have been updates on Justin's lawsuit against the New York Times, with the publication, unsurprisingly, denying all allegations against them.
And yes, is trying to spin it. The judge literally called them out, said, "You're wrong." But hear this. An attorney for the aspiring legal expert who is seemingly taking authorship of her lawsuit says, quote, "What is Brian Friedman hiding?" Brian Friedman is Justin Baldoni's attorney, and as I have also said many times, he is my lawyer too, who's charged me way too much money and given me nothing in exchange. No exclusives, nothing regarding this has not influenced me, okay? In fact, I'm actually grateful because I love all press, good or bad. Anyways, back to the statement. What is Brian Friedman hiding? After promising to release all the receipts, Friedman ran into court to keep secret the phone records of who Baldoni, Keith, Starowitz, Nathan, Wallace, and April were calling during their retaliatory campaign. So, instead of getting these records from the phone carriers the way we initially requested, the judge has ruled that if we simply submit more specific requests, we will be able to get the records we are seeking.
They have even gone so far as to say that their article was simply an opinion.
Those requests directly to defendants involved, and we look forward to seeing the records. Okay. It was a big L they took, but there clearly is a reason why Team Baldoni has yet to submit any subpoenas themselves.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Blake Lively will end up going after Candace Owens? Can she turn things around, or is she too busy dealing with Justin Baldoni as always? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.